We're talking all things bands today with the Director of Bands at Georgia College, Dr. Clifford Towner, today on GC Conversations. Hello and welcome to GC Conversations, a show where each week we're bringing faculty and staff, family and friends and alumni. We talk all things Georgia College. We've got a real special treat for you today, as I say every week. But today we're with Dr. Cliff Towner, Director of Bands here at Georgia College. Cliff, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Director of Bands, that sounds like a lot, okay? Because when I was thinking about that, I thought, well, we got a lot of bands, a lot of instruments, a lot of musicians on this campus. So
We do.
we'll get to that and talk about that later. But let's first always start this first segment talking a little bit about our guests. So how long have you been here and where'd you come from and all that good stuff?
This is my second year here at Georgia College. I just recently graduated with my doctorate at the University of Nebraska.
Okay.
Before then, I was teaching at a small liberal arts college in Iowa. And then before then, I spent most of my life and growing up in Ohio. So
Okay.
In the Cincinnati,
So you're
Dayton area.
Midwesterner and
I am.
coming to the South for the first time, it sounds like.
It is the first time. Well, I lived in Alabama when I was like 6 months old, but that doesn't really count.
Okay, all right. So we don't have quite as much snow as you've been used to in Iowa.
No, not at all. Not even close. That's true. That's true. I enjoyed last winter very, very much. It was nice.
And what drew you to Georgia College? I always like to ask folks that.
Well, I really like the liberal arts mission.
Okay.
Being a musician and reaching out to not only those who want to major and make a career in music, but also those that are just see it as a way to hobby and express themselves and kind of an outlet outside of the degree programs that they're studying. So I really like that mix. All my ensembles have majors and non-majors in them.
Okay.
And it's a real nice mix, and I enjoy that.
And you grew up, I'm assuming, as a musician yourself?
I did.
Okay.
I did. I'm a trumpet player.
Okay.
I've been playing trumpet since I was in the 5th grade, all along. So.
And just out of curiosity, how did that get started? 5th grade. Did you have a band there at your school?
We did. The guy, I mean, it was kind of like, scene out of The Music Man.
Yeah.
The guy rolled his cart in there and played all the instruments, and my mom was a string player, my dad was a woodwind player, and I wanted to do something different, carve my own path, so to speak. And I liked the trumpet because it was loud. I liked it because it only had 3 valves. It looked easy. That was not the case by the way. But it looked easy at the time, and I thought, it's loud. I'll annoy my younger brother. This will be great. That seemed happy, and so and I've been happy with it ever since. So it's been good.
Do you play any other instruments?
I do. I mean, through being my training as a music educator and so forth, I've learned to, at least to some degree, play them all. I'm still much better in the brass family, more than anything else. But yeah, I've played French horn, I've played euphonium, both actively and professionally. But trumpet's my main instrument.
Okay, strings. You play any strings?
Man, you don't want to hear me play strings.
Okay, all right.
I mean, I can hold it properly and get a few notes out, but it's not pretty.
Because I've got a Gibson guitar from the 50s or 60s that I learned to play on.
Sure.
That I actually still have. Or any percussion? Do you do any percussion?
I can do a little bit of percussion.
Okay. Yeah.
I have some skills in the percussion area, but I leave most of that to my percussion colleagues. So.
I kind of want to go back, and this is just an interest in mine in general as a strong advocate of arts in the schools. That is that the case that is still happening in the schools around the country right now? Are people still coming in with music carts and their bands? Is that still as active as it was when you and I were in school?
Well, I don't have the numbers, but yes, that's still happening.
Good.
I mean, of course, as budget gets cut, music and is usually one of the first ones to get cut back or eliminated. But I know the schools around here all have vibrant music programs. I've been out and worked with and seen what's going on over at Baldwin and so forth and so on. And the age where they start may switch. I think at Oak Hill they start in 6th grade instead of 5th grade and so forth. But other than that, it's going really, really strong.
I think mine was 6th grade. Is the middle school was kind of where when I grew up, and I remember same type of thing. They came in, they presented this thing to you. And I think my brother played the trumpet, and but I just the whole arts of being able to express yourself and have these talents is a wonderful thing. So it aches me badly when I see music being cut or performances being cut, those types of things, and maybe talk about your role as a musician and your other professionals in that fight and keeping that up.
Well, I mean, one of our jobs here is to train future music educators,
right.
And so we try to train them in a way that they go out there and advocate for their own profession. So that's important, that they have a really strong passion, not only for music, but its importance in the curriculum for our young folks as they're getting an education. So I think that's really important. I try to help out as much as I can. I often get calls from band directors. Can you come out and guest conduct here? Can you come out and do this? I'm like, I do everything I can within the limits of time to get out into the schools and work with schools. We run a series of summer camps here for high school and middle school students to give them another outlet in the summer and so forth. So we do everything we can to try to make that possible.
Yeah. And you said music education, so a lot of the folks that you're teaching are going to go into the public schools and be an educator.
Absolutely.
Right, yeah. And so they're student teaching. They may be working with the bands in the local schools, that type of thing.
Yep.
Did you do that yourself?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I did that through my undergraduate. I student taught. In fact, the student teacher I student taught with just retired last year.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
Good guy up in Cincinnati. So he just retired, and so I student taught and did practicums in the schools and try to get as much experience as you can before you get that first job.
Right. Yeah.
So that you can jump in and be successful. Right off the bat. That's what we're hoping for our students. And looking at our alums out there, we're doing a pretty good job of it.
Right.
We're doing a good job.
Yeah. How many folks in the music department, roughly? I'm asking you some figures here.
Yeah, there are 10 faculty.
Okay.
Student-wise, I want to say we're close to 100 majors when you include music therapy, which is part of our department and part not. I mean, they're their own department, but we service a lot of their academic needs as well.
Okay.
So we're up there around 100 majors in the department.
Okay.
But then we service a lot of non-majors too through a lot of our ensembles. We offer non-major lessons for students who just want to study their instrument or even start on an instrument. We have students that come in and go, I've never played an instrument before. I'd like to start. And so we have a handful of students that are doing that. They don't play in an ensemble yet, but they're taking lessons with our faculty and so forth.
And that was my question. I'm glad you said that. So if I wanted to, as a student here, and I've never played an instrument, but I'm interested in playing. Maybe it's the trumpet or the guitar or whatever, piano. You have room for someone like me.
You got it.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's a great service, and I'm glad to hear that we have students taking advantage of that, and that we can take you from a beginner all the way to the professional level. There's a wide variety. In
there is a wide variety.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if we'll get you from beginning to professional in 4 years,
but we deal with folks almost at the professional level.
That's correct.
Or at the professional
level.
That's
correct.
Yeah, so.
We have our music majors that are studying to be musicians basically and music teachers, and then we have people that just want to learn how to play guitar or something.
Okay, fantastic. All right, well, we're up against a break, but Cliff, it's a great conversation so far. We're going to continue with Cliff Towner from the Director of Bands here at Georgia College, right back on GC Conversations.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Let's switch to Energy Star light bulbs and stop burning through cash. Saving energy saves you money.
Up to 40% of businesses never recover after experiencing a major disaster. Make a plan at ready.gov/business.
Welcome back to GC Conversations. Again, I'm your host, Wendell Staten. Today, we're joined by Dr. Cliff Towner, Director of Bands. And Cliff, we talked about you and some of the different things in the music department, but your title is the Director of Bands. And again, that sounds like a wide variety of things. So I know we work particularly, and where I see you most is with the pep band who performs at our athletic events. But talk about the different bands that you have and what their role is and what they play, the types of music, all that. So.
Well, I'll start with the pep band since you led in there. You know, our pep band is our athletic band. It plays at all the men's and women's conference basketball games from January through March. Plays a lot of jazz, rock music that the crowd really likes. And our job is to get the crowd in support of the team and to energize the environment there to give that home court advantage to both our men's and women's team. And it's a lot of fun. It's not it's a student activity group. We have a student director that directs it. Anisha Dixon will be back this year. Again, she directed it last year. So it's really kind of a student run. I administer it. I'm at rehearsals. I kind of help get the band sounding good. But then when basketball season starts, it's really the students who really get involved with that.
And let me say, say that, and historically, in the last 20 years, our band is so well known. We won the Peach Belt competition a number of years, but we do. It's a great environment because of what they add, and I love. There's nothing better than going to a college game and hearing the pep band play. Just nothing better.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's kind of funny you mention it because I follow Nebraska football. Obviously, I just got my degree, and I love watching the games and hearing the band.
Yeah.
You know, I'm watching the team play, but every time that fight song goes off, it just, you know, you get the goosebumps and so forth. And,
you really do.
And when they travel away and the band's not there, you miss it. It's opening, and so and that's what we want to provide here at Georgia College, and that's the pep band's mission. That's what they do. They're there to support the team and support all the fans that are in the environment at that game.
You certainly do, and Anisha does a great job, and the students really are a part of the atmosphere and a part of the game, and they get into watching the game and cheering the game, and they I think they do such a great job of taking the cues and knowing what's the right thing to play at the right time.
Yeah.
Which again, that's a talent Anisha's got to be picking up on, and she does a great job with that.
Yeah, she does. You got to get, because you got pieces at all different tempos,
right?
And at certain moments, you got to have that up-tempo tune. You got to, and oftentimes that means you got to switch at the last minute. Some play can happen right as they call a timeout, and you're like, whoa, switch it. You got to switch that tune up pretty quickly. And you're right, Nisha has some talents at that, and she does a good job of that. So.
One of my favorite things of that is it a 30-second timeout or a minute timeout?
Oh man,
you have to look back.
You're always looking, and you're kind of trying to direct the band, but you're right. You're like, was that a 30 or a 60? And then you're on the headset. Is that a 30 or a 60? What 36 winning? And the key is you just got to look at it. When that ball goes into play, man, cut them off. So the last thing we want to do is get the team penalized. Oh, nothing worse than that.
But staying with the pep band for a minute. And again, I just think that's a part of the college atmosphere, and it's a staple. But when do you choose that team? And how do people try out for that? Those types of things.
We have an audition process that happens usually at the end of September.
Okay.
So we audition the band at the end of September, and I hear, we have a set instrumentation that we take, a set number of kids. So we take 19 plus the student director. That's the size of the pep band.
Okay.
And so we listen to what everybody that comes in the door. We pick a good balanced instrumentation out of that, and so we select the band. And then we start rehearsing. We usually have one rehearsal right away as we get ready for Fall Fest and Midnight Madness events.
Right.
And then we have a little more time. So we try to get the fight song going and certain tunes.
Yeah.
And then we'll rehearse throughout the fall periodically, about 4 or 5 times through the rest of the fall, getting ready for January.
Okay.
And then we play through January, and then March is the Peach Belt tournament, and then Spring Fest here on campus, and then usually we're done at that point. We collect music and so forth and so on. So that's kind of our season, end of September through middle of March or so.
I'm going to assume that a fair number of the folks, or if they're on there as a freshman, they probably stay, all 4 years type thing.
We do get a lot of folks that just keep going and going and going, and they just like it because they love basketball and they love playing, and they like that style of music. They want to play that, that rock music, jazz music, that up tempo stuff, and they really enjoy that, or they really love basketball, or they really love both. And usually with most of our kids, it's really both. They want to watch the basketball games, and they want to play their instrument while they're doing it.
Again, I like piped-in music, but I love the live band. There's just nothing better than live music. I'm just telling you.
It's true. I couldn't agree more. I may be biased, I will admit, but yeah, there's nothing better than live music.
Yeah, and growing up, listening to live bands on most weekends, it's just there's just really nothing better. So, okay, that's the pep band. What are the other bands that you deal with?
Well, the largest band we have on campus is the Wind Symphony. That's our concert band. It's usually anywhere from 50 to 70 players, depending on the semester, depending on the year. It's a regular class that you can take at the 1,000 level or 3,000 level, depending on where you are in your freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. It meets for 3 50-minute rehearsals a week, so we meet Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at 11. Okay. And we usually perform 2 or 3 times per semester, so we usually do a full concert. We do one in October and then another one in March, and then we usually do some concerts. We have a departmental concert, and we'll perform on that as well.
Okay.
So and then periodically that band will go on tour. It's kind of expensive to take them off of campus, being that it's a really big group. But they have gone on tour before, and I see them going on tour in the future, periodically. But that's a big group. It's a come-all group. There's no audition for it. You just, as long as you can play one of the instruments we need, you can just sign up and come on in and play. And we have a lot of fun each of those.
And what kind of music is typically played there?
Friday, I mean, we do our standard concert, concert band or wind band literature. It's in more of the classical vein, but we'll do Sousa marches and those kinds of stuff. But and then we also do a lot, do quite a bit of contemporary music. Some of it is infused with jazz. Some of it is infused. We're doing a piece next semester that's an elegy to Miles Davis. Okay. And so it'll have our trumpet professor is going to come and solo with us, and he's going to have to do improvisation and all of that. So it's going to have kind of a jazz feel to it. Right. And some tunes have more of a classical feel to it. So it just kind of depends on the program.
Yeah. And how long does a typical concert last? Your fall and spring concerts? Is that an hour? Is it
Yeah, usually between 60 and 90 minutes. Okay. Yeah. It's usually it's usually about 45 to 50 minutes of music, and then it depends on how much break between the pieces and that kind of stuff, whether there's an intermission or not.
Okay. And these are played on your fall and spring concerts. Are they here on campus?
They're here at Russell Auditorium.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. All right. Well, we got two of the bands done. We're up against a break already.
All right.
Okay, so we're going to come back.
Okay.
But it's good stuff today on GC Conversations with Cliff Towner. We'll be right back.
You must be your fairy godmother?
It doesn't take a fairy godmother to tell you that the right fit means everything. Especially when it comes to car seats. Always choose one that's the right fit for your child's age and size.
Oh, that does make a difference.
Remember, their happily ever afters are in your hands. To find out more, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
Hello and welcome back to GC Conversations for our last segment today with Dr. Cliff Downer, Director of Bands here at Georgia College. And Cliff, we talked about our first two bands, the Wind Ensemble and the Pep Band. And what are the other bands that you direct?
Well, the other one is probably the most well-known in the community, and that's the Jazz Band. The Jazz Band's really popular here. Yeah. And it's great, but that's another one of our groups. It's an academic class again, like the Wind Symphony is. It meets on Tuesday and Thursday at 11 to 12:15, and it's a full somewhere between 17 and 20-piece jazz band that focuses on jazz music and specifically big band jazz music. And it performs a series of concerts. It's always two together, and we'll do a concert in early November, and we'll do a concert again in March. And then this band occasionally gets hired out. For instance, we're playing up at a conference in October, I think. Yeah, in October, playing up at the Atlanta Aquarium. We're looking forward to that. Okay. And then this is the band that goes on tour every year. It's because of its expense. It's just it's less expensive to take the 20-piece band. So they'll go on tour. Last year we went up to the Atlanta area and played at some schools. This spring we've been invited to go play at the Pensacola Jazz Festival. Okay. And we'll visit schools on the way back from Pensacola, and so they do a lot of recruiting and so forth. And then out of that jazz band, we have a little group. It's called the Combo, the Jazz Combo, and that group does a lot of service throughout the community, and across the Georgia College campus too. So you'll see them play, background music at little formal dinners here and there, and so forth and so on. And that group just kind of goes and gigs around. They played it First Friday. They're going to play it First Friday again this year, and so that's kind of our group. When I get calls and say, "Hey, you got some musicians you can send?" I was like, "Sure." And if jazz is an appropriate music for that event, it's the Combo that goes. And so that's the group. It's 4 or 5 students, and we just send them and so forth, and that works out really well.
You're right. I do see. I was at an event recently, and I saw them there. So I do see them at a lot of events.
And it's nice, and it's a bridge for. The Jazz Combo. Some of our upper musicians, our rhythm section, some of our better improvisers, and it's a chance for them to bridge the gap between being a student ensemble and going out and diving into the professional musician scene. And so they go out. They're on a gig. They're being professional. They get paid not much, but they get paid a little bit, and it's their way to bridge that gap so that when they graduate, they understand what it's like to be a performing, gigging musician. And what that's like, and what the setup like, and what is contracting, and how that all works, and getting the check, and making sure the right music is being played at the right time, and so forth, and all of that goes into that, and so that gives those students an opportunity to do that.
And again, the jazz band, you said 17 to 19 usually. Is that a set number as well that you can't, or can't go higher than that? Or?
Yeah, usually,
Okay.
and it really kind of depends on how many auxiliaries we have. But yeah, it's a set instrumentation.
Okay.
We use 5 saxophones,
Okay.
2 alto, 2 tenor, and a bari, 4 trombones, 4 trumpets. Our rhythm section is usually guitar, bass, drum set, and piano. So
Okay.
that's the 17.
Okay.
And then sometimes we'll add an auxiliary percussionist, and then we usually almost always have 1 or 2 vocalists with us
Okay.
when we perform. They don't rehearse with us every each
Right.
day, but we'll audition the singers, and then we'll usually carry 2 or 3 singers with us as well. So that's how you get closer to 20.
And again, this is an audition.
It is an audition
Right.
group. Everybody auditions at the beginning of the year, which
Okay.
sets the instrumentation for the whole year for the
Okay.
jazz band.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
so.
Okay. All right. The jazz band, and what else?
Then,
Director bands.
like with the combo, one of the things that we also have that's kind of in the band area is we have a variety of chamber ensembles that
Okay.
works. Now, I don't direct any of them,
Right.
but I do help recruit for them. And so we have a brass ensemble, and we have several woodwind ensembles, and we have a percussion ensemble that my colleagues all direct. And so it gives the students a chance to really try their hand at this chamber music, where it's one on a part. You don't play that part, and nobody plays it. You
Right.
know, it's a different role when it's kind of a bridge, once again, a gap between a large ensemble and solo playing. And so we'll have smaller ensembles. And again, those ensembles go out and they play. They have a small ensembles concert that they do every service, but then, each semester. But then a lot of those ensembles also go out and do gigs. Our brass ensemble that Dr. Maureen Horgan directs,
Right.
they'll play Convocation, or they'll play Graduation, or
Yeah.
so they have services, Hanging of the Greens. So you'll see them around campus doing service and playing and stuff. And so that's another way for our students to start seeing the seeing and getting a shot
Right.
at what it's like to be out there gigging as a professional.
Yeah, and I see a lot of the students, if you go visit any of our area churches, you're almost always going to see a Georgia College student in there.
That's correct.
Yeah.
We have a lot of, and we have a string quartet that's,
Right.
that's not under the band purview, but we have that group. We have smaller vocal ensembles. So we have really a lot of, in the music department as a whole, a lot of those groups. And so,
Right.
and we get a lot of requests for them. We
Yeah.
get, people calling up and saying, hey, I would like this, I would like this. We're looking for this, and we try to accommodate as many of those as we can without, overusing our
Sure.
students. I mean, they are students.
Right,
So
right.
they have to go to class, and they have to study, and they have
Right.
to practice.
Right,
and
yeah.
So they have a lot of things to do, and not necessarily a lot of free time,
Yeah.
but we try to accommodate as much of that as we can.
Tell me about the band camps.
Yeah.
How about that? I know that's a big part.
It is. We run a series of summer music camps in the month of June.
Right.
Last year we ran a middle school camp. We ran a high school jazz camp, a high school symphonic band camp, and then we have a drum major leadership academy. And those camps have been going on for over 20 years
Right.
at some form of them or another. I think
yeah.
the jazz camp is in their 9th or 10th year, but the drum major camp I think was the original one, and
Okay.
and it started about 22 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So we have faculty come in. We hire a set faculty to come in, and then the high school or middle school, depending on this camp, come in. They stay in the dorms. They eat at
Right.
the max for the week that they're here. And then they get a great musical education while also having a really good time.
Right,
They have
yeah.
some free time, and they get to go swimming over at the pool and other activities each night. So, and then we have the counselors for that camp are our college students. So
Okay.
our college students work as counselors. They do some teaching, and of course they do a lot of the recreational activities and stuff like that. And that gives our music ed students more experience
Okay.
in dealing with young folks, and especially for the music ed folks, that's really, really helpful to
Right,
them. And it's
right.
a good thing to put on their resume to help them get jobs and so
Yeah.
forth. But the camps really provide a really nice resource for the community and for the state as well. We get a lot of people from Baldwin and Jones County, but we also get people come down from Atlanta and so forth in that areas, and come down and stay with us for a week or 2 weeks. We'll have
Right.
kids. We had several kids that came to the jazz camp and then stayed the next week for the high school camp and so forth. So.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. And again, I know we have an incredible summer camp program
Oh.
everywhere throughout our campus, and I'm glad that that's a vital part of it.
It is. This campus
Yeah.
is almost busier in the summer
It
than it is during the year.
No, you're exactly
There's
right.
so many camps,
Yeah.
and Max is just packed all
Yeah.
the time, and
Yeah,
and it's
never-
always interesting because our camps start on Sunday,
Yeah.
and I think most of the athletic camps start on Monday.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Sunday night we get to the dining hall, and I warn all the students, all right, now enjoy this,
Yeah.
because Monday this place is gonna be packed. And sure enough, Monday morning for breakfast, it's packed. So.
Well, our time is up, but again,
All right.
if we want to find out where these performances are, we can just go online to GCSU, probably.
.edu/music.
Music, yeah.
Yep. And then
Okay.
we have our calendar, all our concerts and events, and our guest artist series, and that's
Yeah.
all up all up there, and you can find all about our performances. And if anybody out there is interested in playing in one of these bands, just contact me, clifford.towner@gcsu.edu.
It's been a great show today. Thanks for a lot of information.
Thanks for
having
having
me. We look forward to listening to these folks all year long.
It'll be great.
Oh, great. For Cliff Towner, I'm Wendell Staten. Thanks for joining us today on GC Conversations.